Bitcoin is still trading in a major bull flag pattern, and on today's update video I will be exactly break down this pattern, what it exactly means, other significant moves that Bitcoin potentially could be creating anytime soon here. I'm going to be talking about where we're currently sitting in this cycle and what we could still be expecting is likely to be happening next year, and much more important stuff including the downtrend we're currently still trading in. I will be breaking it down completely to give you guys a little bit of an easier overview about what we're currently seeing. And now there's a very big opportunity as well to jump on this major trade right now. And right now with the altcoin market and of course Bitcoin dropping quite significantly, I do believe there's a very big opportunity to jump on this trade here. So I will be breaking this down later in today's videos. So a lot to discuss here because I'm going to be breaking down the most important news as well here. So don't forget to once again slap up that like button back above 1,000 likes will be highly appreciated. And with that being said, let me dive straight away in towards today's update video. So currently, if I'm looking at Bitcoin, we're still of course creating that major CME gap on the lower side, sitting around 84,000 US dollars. Bitcoin now coming down ever so slightly after we of course still are trading in this major bull flag pattern. And really what we're seeing right now here is that on the bigger perspective, Bitcoin is trading in an uptrend where we're creating higher highs and higher lows, of course. Right now on the imminent short term, so let's say the 1 hour time frame, we're still seeing a slight little downtrend getting created where we're of course getting rejected from the top side of the resistance and finding support every single time where we do retest that lower side of that support box. So Bitcoin is right now still in the consolidation phase on the bigger perspective, but also of course on the lower perspective. So if you're looking at the 4 hourly time frame, we can currently clearly see we're seeing this major previous level of major previous resistance and support. Here also resistance is now still getting retested, and if we do break below this level, which is the 85,000 US dollar zone, I do really believe Bitcoin is going to be looking a little bit lower, and it's probably going to be having another push towards the lower side. So this level where we're currently sitting on is absolutely a crucial level, and you could be approaching it either as a falling wedge pattern as well here. So if we break outside of the bull flag pattern, the lower side of support, or if we break below the horizontal support box, or if we break outside of this falling wedge pattern, we're just going to be looking for another major move towards the downside, and realistically speaking, maybe we're going to be retesting the downward sloping trend line, but ultimately it would be quite bad for Bitcoin here. So yeah, it's going to be very important to be watching that here, but you have to understand that on the bigger time frames, we're still trading in an ever so slight uptrend here. So it isn't necessarily that we're all too bearish right now in the imminent short term due to this slight little downtrend we're creating on the 1 hour time frame, because there's a lot of stuff happening which I quickly want to be discussing. So yesterday I spoke about GME, that they were of course investing in Bitcoin. Now there are massive short positions open on GME. To be exact, this is the second highest short volume since January 2021. And after January 2021, we got a major short squeeze by the Reddit followers. So that was of course extremely exciting. And if that would be happening, it ultimately would be quite great for the Bitcoin market in general. Then Brazil's vice president advisor urges the nation to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve here, because he is saying Bitcoin is digital gold and this will be crucial for our prosperity. So more and more countries are having FOMO to be buying Bitcoin. Of course, we see the United States of America, but also many other countries FOMOing in as well right now. Then also, if we're going to be looking back at historical performance from the month of April, and it's been one of the strongest periods in the entire Bitcoin market as well here. So that is why I'm very excited, because it's almost April. It's going to be a very exciting time ahead of ourselves here. Then as well, we're seeing that multiple Wall Street giants are basically right now considering to be buying Bitcoin for their reserves, because yeah, we can see GameStop is starting to do it. We of course see the United States of America is doing, and maybe companies like Apple could be following. And if that would be happening, it is of course going to be absolutely massive. And with the spot Bitcoin ETF, it is literally made easy for these major companies to be buying Bitcoin on their balance sheet. And yesterday as well, we had another positive day on the spot Bitcoin ETF, flowing in over 89 million US dollars, and it's just necking the 10th consecutive day on the spot Bitcoin ETF here, which is of course absolutely exciting, super great to see here. And the Ethereum ETF just still saw a slight little outflow. Then yesterday as well, we got the news that the US Q4 GDP has risen even more to 2.4% here. The estimate was 2.3%. So the economy is still growing. And of course, as the economy is stronger and as the economy is still growing, it is still showing a lot of strength for the entire market. Then quickly, if I'm going to be comparing where Bitcoin is currently sitting compared to all these previous cycles, we can see that we're actually still quite undervalued compared to the previous cycles. I mean, I do also know that usually Bitcoin tends to create less and less performance compared to these previous cycles because the market cap is way bigger. But ultimately, we are still expecting to see somewhat of a similar move towards the upside. So if we're going to be looking at this, still it is likely that we could still get some more excitement for the entire market. So yeah, if we're looking at that, I'm still very excited. And of course, if I'm looking at the hash rate and signal, we are right now seeing also a buy signal getting flashed. Historically, it has never meant that Bitcoin straight away goes higher, but it has historically showed us that the Bitcoin prices follow us afterwards ever so slightly. Then right now as well, I will give you guys a very big opportunity to copy my trade on my hyper liquid trade. Right now, it is lower than my average entry price, but I'm still in the profit because what this grid trading bot does here is basically it buys and sells here along the way up and down here. And now along the way down, it is actually accumulating. And that is why I think it's a very great time to be actually opening up your own positions as well here. Because on this most recent drop here, we managed to accumulate a lot here while we're still distributing once we were going up again here. So it's a very great strategy, guys. And if you are interested in copying this, and I will leave a link towards this trading bot in the comment section of today's video for once here, because normally I only let you copy my Bitcoin or Ethereum trade, but now I will leave a link towards this exact trading bot here, which you can copy exactly, where I literally made over $9,000 in profit with already. And yeah, I'm currently still holding this trade here because I do believe that ultimately, on the longer perspective, it is going to be doing absolutely great here. So if you're interested in that, I will leave a link to the comment section of today's video. Further on, guys, if we're looking at the bigger perspective, most of the charts are still showing us that we're going to get at least somewhat of a very exciting time for Bitcoin ahead of ourselves. Also, if you're going to compare Bitcoin to gold here, gold is absolutely exploding. And we do know Bitcoin is the better variant of gold here. And if I'm going to be looking at Ethereum, I mean, so far, Ethereum has been absolutely horrible, but this man from BlackRock, he owns $2.5 billion worth of Ethereum. He has stated a lot of bullish things about Ethereum as well here, and this is literally what the CEO of BlackRock also said here. Whenever the Ethereum ETF staking is approved, it will cause massive FOMO, and that is a thing that the CEO of BlackRock stated, and that is a thing that I also believe in. So honestly, Ethereum is still quite undervalued in my opinion. We do have an ETF on Ethereum, but we haven't seen significant inflows, but I do think if this major change could come through here, it could ultimately be something very great for the entire market. Also, the US government moved over 884 Ethereum worth about $1.77 million. Is it moving to the national stockpile? That is a very interesting thing here because they also moved their Bitcoin to a different address. So a lot of movement happening in the background, and maybe Ethereum is getting accumulated by the US government right now for their national stockpile. So interesting things happening. I believe that this range where we're currently sitting, a very good risk to reward zone here. I mean, the market is falling right now here due to the most recent correction on Bitcoin here. Ethereum is once again taking a bigger hit than Bitcoin, but ultimately, if we're looking at the bigger perspective, we are seeing some very interesting crossovers happening right now here, including the fact that we're creating a major bullish divergence on the weekly time frame. So very exciting times ahead of ourselves right now here. But anyways, guys, this was it once again for me in today's update video. If you did enjoy it, learn something from it, don't forget to slap that like button, subscribe to the channel, and see you guys on the next one. Peace out. Goodbye.